Have you ever wanted to start a business but you don't have the funds to start? In this video, I'm going to share how you could do exactly that. But first, if you haven't already watched part 1 of this series, have a look at the previous video where I share part 1 of how I got started in my own business without any funds. In this video, what I want to do though is have a look at some possible business ideas just so you could get a sense of what it would look like to start a business without any funds. You know, when my kids were younger, people used to ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the answers that they were always looking for was a fireman or a doctor or a dentist. Does anybody want their kid to be a dentist? Just kidding, dentist. It's a great job. But I always felt a bit differently for my kids. What I told them is that it's great to be able to start a career in a profession that is meaningful and that you enjoy the work. Actually, if my kids did anything, literally, well, almost literally anything, I would have been so proud of them if they just put their heart and their mind into whatever that profession was. But for me, I always told my kids as well, you don't only have to think about, do you want to be a doctor or a dentist? You could also think about being an entrepreneur. You could think creatively about starting something from nothing and going into business for yourself. And that's what I want to share with you today as well. I know there's so many people right now because of the pandemic that are out of work. Many people haven't had a job since March, and they're at home frustrated trying to figure out what to do next. And I think that so many people wait for others to give them a job when they don't have to do that. You know, when I started my business Purple Cow 12 years ago, I handed out my resume and I was just another number. And nobody else would give me a job, so I gave myself one, and I just decided to start my own business. For you, you have that same opportunity as well, and whether you have the funds to start one or you don't, you could still start anyhow. And so I think what everybody needs to do if they want to start a business but they don't have the funds to do so is to think about the resources that they already have in their life. You know, with my kids, I used to tell them at times to look at the things that they did well. You know, my oldest son, for example, when he was 15 years old, researched different computer parts, and he put together a computer from scratch himself that lasted for years and was very effective. And what I told him when he was looking for a job when he was younger is, why not just put out an ad or let other people that you know that you're going to start a business repairing computers, and that could be a job. You know, I think the kind of well-known example is that a lot of kids when they're younger will start a lemonade stand because it's something they could do. But I think that there's a lot of equivalents to lemonade stands out there. You know, what are you good at? Do you know another language where you could teach another language? Are you able to do translation? You know, are you someone that is good at singing? Are you someone that is good at writing? Whatever your skills are, there's a lot of opportunities to start a business with that. And you know, I could imagine a lot of people thinking as well, where, how am I going to do that? Where am I going to start a business? During the pandemic, they're shutting people down. How am I going to open something new at a time like this? But I think those type of thoughts in your head is what you need to challenge. Whenever you have a block in your mind about how would I do this because of money, or how would I do this because of a particular challenge going on in the world around you, there's always a solution. So what about that? You know, what if you were to say, well, wait a second, you know, I want to start something, but I can't open up a physical business. You know, maybe you want to start a language school and you want to teach language. Well, during this time, it's really easy to do that by just setting up an online course. You could do that from your home without even leaving. You know, you could use some simple software. There's many out there. They're called learning management systems, or LMSs, that help you to set up classes and to take payments online and to message all of your students. There's nothing without, with a bit of creative energy that you can't put together to be able to start a business today with whatever resources you have or wherever you may be. Here's something else that I gotta say about starting a new business. I think what a lot of people do is they'll start something and they'll say, I'm a freelancer, and the skill that I'm offering is videography or lawn mowing or computer repair or whatever it might be, copywriting. I think twice about saying that you're a freelancer. When I started Purple Cow 12 years ago, I suppose technically I should have said I was a freelancer because it was just me to begin with. But why didn't I do that? For me, I had the end in mind. Believe me, I didn't know anything about business, and I barely knew what I was doing when it came to website development. But I knew enough to start with the end in mind. I knew that my goal wasn't to just make websites myself. I knew that I wanted to build a company. And I think that when people promote themselves as a freelancer, there's some problems with that. One of those is that they're already limiting their thinking of where they're going to take what they're doing from the very beginning. In their mind, they're a one-woman or one-man show, and they're providing a service to other people. And listen, if that's what you want to do, if you always want to do everything yourself, if you always want to be the one that whether you feel sick or whether you go on vacation, you're the one that always has to be there to make sure things happen, and I suppose call yourself a freelancer. But if you want to grow your talents, and if you want to grow what you're doing beyond yourself, why not just promote things with the end in mind? If you want to grow a business, then tell people you've started a business. Think of a name and promote yourself with how you plan to be 6 months down the track, 1 year down the track. And if you do that, you'll more quickly grow into what it is that you've set off to do. The other thing is I think that it's very challenging, people's perception of a freelancer. Think about that yourself. Have you ever used a freelancer? I know that I've used many, and a lot of the challenges that people have with freelancers, I've had as well. Sometimes they're a little flaky. Sometimes they don't show up. Sometimes there's a real life problem, and it's understandable why they're not able to be there, but quickly they disappear. I think from the beginning, you need to try to get away from some of those negative perceptions that people have of freelancers, not to pretend to be something other than you are, but to try to make sure that from the very beginning you're already thinking about how do you get around some of those problems and do better for your customers and your clients as well. So start with the end in mind. Write down a simple list of what it is that you want to accomplish, who you want to be as a company, and then get to work finding solutions to what it is you want to create with your own business. At the end of the day, what I'm saying is, don't feel that you have to be perfect. Don't feel that you have to have all of the answers before getting started. It's okay to fail. It's okay to risk and not know what the next step is. I think this is a little bit easier for me because I've always had the kind of personality where I would rather jump out of a plane and then figure out how to fly instead of preparing everything in advance. Maybe it's not the smartest way, but I'll tell you what is the biggest trap when it comes to starting your own business, and that is waiting to get all the details just perfect. Waiting to have all of the answers, because I'll tell you, even after 12 years of business, I think I still have more questions than I have answers. So wherever you are, the most important thing is just get started. Take the first step, and then once you take the first step, then you could worry about how to take the second step. And when you take the second step, then I'm sure you'll have an easier time to figure out how to take the third step. So ask people that are in business questions. Research online, do whatever you have to do to find the initial answers, but get started. The journey's fun. The journey is hard. The journey is scary, but I think that the journey is also ultimately very rewarding. So wherever you're at today, whatever your idea is, give it a shot. What do you have to lose? As always, thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, make sure and leave a comment below or send me a direct message. Take care.